Picture this, it's the year 1066. A beautiful September morning, birds are singing, a slight breeze rustles through the trees, and then thousands of Viking warriors come storming in, ready for a good old-fashioned bloodbath. Not exactly your average day out in the English countryside. The Vikings, led by the fierce Harold Hardrada, had rocked up in the north of England like they owned the place, which, to be fair, they thought they did. They'd just crushed the English army at the Battle of Fulford, leaving a trail of discarded helmets and bewildered sheep in their wake. Next stop, Stamford Bridge, a rather charming little bridge over the River Derwent. Little did these hairy warriors know they were about to walk right into a trap. Well, not a trap exactly. More like a very annoyed, very large and very axe-wielding English army led by King Harold Godwinson. See, Harold had been enjoying a bit of peace and quiet down south after dealing with another pesky Viking invasion. They were always popping over for a cuppa and a conker. As the battle raged on, one Viking berserker stood his ground on Stamford Bridge, a lone figure against the English onslaught. This berserker, with his wild eyes and unyielding spirit, became a symbol of defiance for his comrades. But the English forces were relentless, and the berserker found himself outnumbered and outmaneuvered. In the end, it was a cunning English soldier who floated in a barrel beneath the bridge and stabbed the berserker from below, ending his valiant last stand. Let's dive into the final moments of the Viking berserker at Stamford Bridge. The berserker, a fearsome warrior with unmatched ferocity, faced his ultimate challenge. As the battle raged, the berserker fought valiantly, his legendary prowess on full display. But even the mightiest warriors meet their match. An arrow struck the berserker, bringing an end to his heroic stand. His death marked a turning point in the battle and a significant moment in history, a dramatic end for a legendary warrior. The Battle of Stamford Bridge wasn't your typical medieval brawl. It was more like a chaotic pub fight that got way out of hand. The Vikings, caught with their breeches down, not literally mind you, were lounging about in the September sunshine, feeling pretty chuffed with themselves after their recent victory. They weren't expecting Harold's army to show up quite so soon. They also weren't expecting the English to be quite so cross. The English army, spoiling for a fight, charged across the bridge, catching the Vikings off guard. Imagine a pack of angry badgers descending upon a picnic basket full of unsuspecting sandwiches. It was absolute mayhem. Axes were swinging, swords were clashing, and the River Derwent was starting to look suspiciously red. Now, legend has it that a Viking berserker, armed with nothing but an axe and a whole lot of courage, or maybe just stubbornness, made his last stand at the bridge. This brave or foolish Viking warrior hacked and slashed his way through dozens of Englishmen, sending limbs flying and making the bridge his own personal dance floor of doom. He fought like a man possessed until, sadly, a soldier hidden in a barrel managed to stab him from underneath the bridge with a spear. Not very sporting, old boy. The Battle of Stamford Bridge was a decisive moment for the English. Among the chaos, a lone Viking berserker held the bridge, wielding his massive axe with terrifying strength. This fearsome warrior single-handedly delayed the English advance, cutting down anyone who dared to cross. His stand was legendary, but eventually he was brought down by a cunning English soldier who floated under the bridge and speared him from below. With the berserker gone, the English forces surged forward, overwhelming the Viking army. Hardrada, the Viking king, faced his final stand and got a nasty surprise in the form of an English arrow to the throat. With their leader pushing up daisies, the Vikings did what they did best. They legged it. But here's the kicker. Just a few weeks later, William the Conqueror, another beard enthusiast, popped over from Normandy and defeated the exhausted English army at the Battle of Hastings. Harold, poor chap, took an arrow to the eye. Talk about bad luck. And that was the end of Anglo-Saxon rule in England. So what if those Vikings had just stayed home and worked on their tans instead of invading England? Would Harold have been fresh and ready to face William? Would England be speaking Norwegian today? We'll never know for sure, but it's fun to think about, isn't it? One thing's for certain, the Battle of Stamford Bridge, despite its hilarious quirks, was a turning point in English history. It also proves that even the most fearsome Vikings can be defeated with a bit of surprise, a lot of courage, and maybe a well-aimed spear under the bridge.